This video covers sensitive subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised. It's rare for kids to kill, so it was a shock when 4 young adults in Iowa were charged with murder just months apart in 2021. In June, 20-year-old Alexander Ken Jackson was charged with shooting his parents and sister in Cedar Rapids. In October, 17-year-old Ethan Alexander Orton was charged with murdering his parents with a knife and axe in their Cedar Rapids home. In November, 16-year-old Jeremy Everett Goodale and 16-year-old Willard Noble Chaiden Miller were charged with murdering their Spanish teacher in Fairfield. Those trials are pending, but this isn't the first time young adults have been charged with murder in Iowa. In 2012, 17-year-old Isaiah Sweet pled guilty in the murders of his grandparents in Manchester. In 2006, 22-year-old SHAWN BENTLER shot his parents and 3 sisters. These crimes leave the state of Iowa asking, why do kids kill? Experts say it's difficult to study kids who kill because it's such a rare occurrence.
However, these cases, when they do occur, they make not just local, but national news. Therefore, we think it's much more common than it actually is. I mean, some would say, well, if it happens at all, it's too much. Others would say, well, there's a lot of individuals who are experiencing the same type of anger, frustration, self-absorption, etc., but do not engage in the behavior. But we only focus clearly on the ones who do engage on it.
There are many factors that, when combined, can influence an adolescent to kill. This may include narcissism, not understanding consequences for one's actions, difficulty with impulse control, violence as a response to abuse, peer pressure, mental illness, substance abuse, and more.
Their brain is not even fully developed, and the part of the brain that controls a lot of these things that I've already been talking about, such as disinhibition, planning, considering consequences, is all part of the brain that's developed the latest. And so that becomes a whole issue, and that has actually been considered in many legal cases all the way to the Supreme Court on many occasions regarding juvenile crimes and adolescent brain development.
Additionally, today's youth have been living in a prolonged state of uncertainty and anxiety as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic.
When youth have fewer new experiences, so in the last 2 years with the pandemic, fewer opportunities to go to school, to participate in sport events, to go to a movie, to do things at a playground, those move kids along through time. And when those don't happen, kids tend to languish. It's kind of like a whirlpool in a river. You're not going downriver, you're caught in this whirlpool, it's spinning around, and kids tend to languish.
Adults and children have had a 2-year-long test of resiliency. As new variants of COVID-19 emerge, routines are put back in flux.
This week I'm in school, next week I'm not in school, and who knows what happens after that. So if you're 10 years old, the pandemic has been 20% of your life. If you're 50 years old, it's only been 2% of your life.
The pandemic has increased feelings of stagnation, hopelessness, and lack of control over one's life.
Civilians burn out after 90 days of extended chaos. We've seen that, and it has a tremendous impact on kids.
We are a program that works with families of homicide victims as well as other felony violent crimes. On average, a murder impacts at least 40 people. There are different types of murders. There are highly publicized murders that can impact family, friends, community.
What advice would you give to someone who lives in a community that has been affected by a murder such as Fairfield?
To reach out for assistance. Nobody is immune to murder, and especially in small towns, many people know the defendant as well as the victims. So, we are here to offer support to any community member that needs that. We're more than happy to work with them because, again, it doesn't just affect family members. It is a different kind of grief that people experience with a murder. It is traumatic grief, which is anywhere from 2 to 7 years. So it's not as if somebody lost somebody to old age or a car accident. It's due to horrific crime that happened.
Paying attention to the mental health of young adults is key to stopping behaviors from escalating to violence.
Behavioral challenges in youth are similar to behavioral challenges in adults, especially in teens who struggle to make friendships, isolation. Sleep disturbances are something that we encourage people to pay attention to. We also encourage parents to proactively check in with their youth to see how they're doing. The other thing I would say is depression and anxiety are both very common. Somewhere around 75% of mental health issues start to present in the young adult period, so that's late teens to early adulthood. So that's something that parents want to be kind of keyed in on and monitor their kids and see if those issues start to appear. And the other thing I would say is that education around mental health issues and behavioral health issues, both in the school system but also from parents, is a really important component.
If peers and adults notice escalating behavior, I think it's important to talk to someone about that. Primarily, talk to the person who you're concerned about. I think a great opportunity to engage with someone is to express your concern directly to them, to tell them that you're worried, to ask them if there are things they need, to remind them that you're a person that can support them and provide them guidance and help them. Even if right now they don't need help, in the future, you're a person that they could come to and talk to.
Violence may not be as serious as murder, but it can include harming oneself and others.
I think it's important that we recognize that early intervention is an important component of mental health care, just like it's an important component of physical health care. And if you have concerns, behaviorally or mental health-wise, you should reach out to a professional. These services are not being overutilized, and it is a good place to start if you as a parent have concerns about a teen or child.
Doing nothing will not help the situation get any better. Ignoring a problem that seems very obvious also isn't going to help. And when you know more information, then you can do something different. And I think that's the only thing that will change the trajectory of the situation that a young adult is in.
The Gazette will have updates on the trials of Alexander Ken Jackson, Ethan Alexander Orton, Jeremy Everett Goodale, and Willard Noble Chaiden Miller.